Hey, what's up, guys? Max here. I want to tell you basically what I did to 100% Necropolis, kind of like the farming that I took into play to do this. Now, that probably skewed a lot of the data that Kabam is actually saying that this is one of the reasons why they're going to be farming or nerfing their farming situation in revives, because players like myself and everybody else that's doing this has done it to the extreme of like abusing it and just farming way too much, I just tell you, I've 100% completed Necropolis with Aegon, and a lot of it was like brute force through Aegon, just kind of like heavy, building up those Furies and just taking on as much damage what I could do with that 20% revive. I didn't really use too many health pots. I just threw revives at the fights. Most fights cost a lot of revives because I was doing that. I wasn't healing up to full. Now, ideally, if you play it better with Aegon, you heal up to full and you do a couple of specials, dodge a couple of items, and you don't need that many revives. But my thought process on completing Necropolis was I wanted to go fast and I wanted to go hard with Aegon. So basically needed a bunch of those 20% revives. And what I was doing caused me, I would have to go back and look at the data, and I don't want to sit there and look at every single video and just count how many revives I used. Certain paths took like 60 revives. Certain paths took, I think my first path with rank 4, Aegon, 6-star Aegon took about just close to 100 revives to get it done. I went through path 5 to get that 4 to 5 rank up gem to take my Aegon to rank 5. So I think on a rough estimate, I want to say if not between 70 to 100 revives per path. There's 6 paths, so let's just go with the higher number of 100. I ended up using about 600 revives, and you're probably thinking like, whoa, Max, that's way too much for like a player like you. Just, again, keep in mind, I was not healing. I was just throwing 20% revives at the paths in Necropolis, at the champions inside Necropolis. So what that means is like 20% revive, went in with Aegon. Whether Aegon took, I was able to get him to like quite a high combo because I kind of didn't take as much damage. I typically wasn't. I was not able to get to certain fights was past like 50, maybe 40 to 50 hits on Aegon before I KO, if that, because of I was only going in with 20% on Aegon. Keep in mind, right off the bat, probably taking like 5% off, so it was 15% because of like the hit that I would take. So knowing that information, obviously I knew I had to farm a bunch of revives. Okay, so we talked about this, and I didn't keep it a secret from the community. In the live streams, I talked to players and let them know, say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Like, hit me up on private PMs, like direct messages. I'll let you know kind of what I'm doing, basically to what you're seeing. It's like, I would live stream, and next thing you know, I would have like 120, 140 revives. And you're like, how's that even possible? You just live streamed yesterday and you had the same stash, and I saw you like eat up through like half of your stash of revives. Well, the way I was doing it myself, I can tell you what I did. There's other like line chats and people telling you, hey, this is where you want to farm. I myself went to Act 5, Chapter 3.6. Now, I was farming in this basically map for a very, very long time. And then I found myself basically going through, this is where you'll find the revives here at the bottom. I found myself going through this map and not finding a single revive. I did this map like the way you're seeing it now, and I could not find a single energy refill or revive. I would clear the map for like 3 or 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, meaning reset the map. What that means is go through the entire, path, beat the boss, go back in there and see what the RNG is and what champions or what revives and energy refills you're going to get through by doing that. So I did that for many times, and I was like, dude, I'm not getting the revives that I normally would get, because I know they nerfed that portion of the farming. What I was told was like, hey, Max, try Act 5, Chapter 4.6, that Ultron boss fight, or path, right? So they're like, that is where you want to go in, and that's where you're going to find a bunch of revive. Now, I'm not sure about this, but I want to say that Kabam didn't touch the nerfing of this portion of the content. And the reason why is because these fights are not auto fightable. These fights are not as easy to get through. Depending on your roster, they're not an easy way of being able to do these fights auto fighting. So the whole point and goal of this for me was not to sit there on my phone, on my iPad for like 20 hours a day and just farming, me playing the game. I wanted it to be auto farmable. Basically, I wanted my team, which is actually the team you're seeing here, right here, that's description. This is the team that I basically used to auto farm my revives. I just threw my strongest teams. There's rank 2s, there's 6 stars, ascended 6 stars, and then there is the Wiccan, which is for the boss if I care to take over. Now, most of the time I didn't even take over. Sometimes when I would catch myself like at the boss, I would be like, oh, I want to do this quick. I don't want my champions, the AIs, fighting each other for like, a couple of minutes. I want to do the boss in 10 to 30 seconds. I would take over. But in this, using basically this quest, this is the quest that I ended up using. I went in there and was able to farm like 100 to almost 150 revives within like almost 48 hours. And it took me about a week to get to that 600 number roughly of revives to be able to complete Necropolis in less than a week. Like the challenge was actually, I said to myself, like, I wanted to do this slow, knowing that the way I did it, knowing that I farmed so much, I probably would have gone for in the way I used Aegon, I probably would have gone for like the title Legends run, because I was just going in there and completing the path like basically right away. Maybe I would have done it within the first, 24 hours completion of like Necropolis. But I'm glad I did it the way I did it. And it just kind of made me wait for Cyber Weekend to finish it off. Finished it off on live stream. Ended up using 3,000 units. And the units that I used and spent was because I ended up buying the packages that actually pop up once you complete Conqueror, once you complete Uncollected, and once you complete Cavalier. You get this pop-up offer, and it tells you like, hey, you want to buy these items. It's 1,000 units. It's going to give you some boost. It's going to give you some revives, some health pots. So, and energy refills, which I then threw back into the farming. Now, all that being said, it's kind of how I did it, how many revives I went ahead and basically consumed. A lot of it also, by the way, came because I had a total of these Paragon 4-hour crystals, which is what you're seeing here. I had a total of over 1,100 of these crystals, and I basically opened them all to get as many energy refills and some revives, but mainly energy refills to keep farming, to keep going when it comes to farming revives. Now, that is basically in a very long portion everything that I did, and the way I did it to basically capture as many revives as I did when it comes to completing Necropolis. Now, the reason I'm letting you know this all in the video, and we've talked about it a little bit on stream, is because there is a post right here with big conversations, basically in the forums, which basically a lot of people were just saying, hey, someone came out with the post and said, hey, revive farming has been shadow nerfed, and so they've been talking about the revive farming because players feel like, hey, it's not happening, and that's not the case. Actually, Kabam Jax goes out and talks about like there's no like silent nerfs that are happening in the revive farming. It's just the RNG that you have to go out and clear the map. Now, there's this video is gonna be long, but there is a little bit of tips and tricks that you want to do in farming revives. I think I've talked about it in a bunch of live streams, but you want to stick to one. For me, it was stick to one map and one map only, and knowing the fact that you're gonna have to sometimes reset the map maybe 3 to 6 times before you start getting another revive to pop up, and then actually going into 6.4 or 5.4.6 is where you want to be. So that's kind of like if people were farming in other areas and not in the one that I basically am referring to, then yeah, I can see how they, like I said, I had to jump out of 5.3.6 into 5.4.6 because I was running 5.3.6 so many times and I wouldn't get a revive. This is before like everybody started doing it, right? So yeah, but anywho, let's read basically the comment here that Kabam Jack says, since we're discussing not silent nerfs and data collecting on this subject here, I feel like this might be a good time to put it out in the battle realm. These early act revive farms will be nerfed, as we have discussed in the past. This has happened and is inevitable. It is not the result of people posting it on the forums. This is the result of looking at the data and the impact that these type of things have to the contest as a whole. So, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to go ahead and tackle it right away, is because of what Kabam Jax is referring to right here, is because it's just a matter of time. Obviously we have content creators, myself, streaming, and let me just talk about myself. I'm streaming, farming, revives. Where I'm doing it, I was trying to keep it a secret for like the first, 3-4 days. And after like, the term, the cat was out of the bag, then I was like, let me just like put it out there. Basically, I started farming live streams while we were just chatting, and then I would go and play other things, right? But I would do that, and that didn't really affect. I don't think that was a big issue. Is obviously it's just a matter of like a week worth of data. Once Kabam goes out there and looks at the information of like players, where are they playing? What are they doing? And they see players like myself and a bunch of other players farming 600 to like 700 revives, per week in there. It's probably not a good thing, or where they're saying, okay, why are they doing this? Well, obviously Necropolis is out. This is not what their intentions are. So then they're going to be nerfing this. Now, the good thing about this is that if you're watching this, you already know, well informed, that this is going to get nerfed. And I would extremely recommend you go in there and just farm and do this, or do Necropolis with the farming items that you have, or start farming and get Necropolis done, because it's going to cost you so much more in the next couple of weeks after basically January, if I'm not mistaken. So that being said, the timeline for this looks like it should land in early January. Okay, and lately before the final cutoff of the Road to the Crypt Necropolis event. So basically, when is it going to be nerfed? It's going to be nerfed in January. So I would go in there and just farm, kind of like what I did, kind of what you see in this video, and just get it done. Now, Aegon is the most costly champion to get Necropolis done. You're going to be seeing there is other champions like Wong, like Kate Bishop, that can do this, Sherry that can do this with very limited revives, and you probably won't need about maybe if like 40 to 50 revives to get it done per path, and that's probably too many already, depending on your skill level. But if you just want to go in there quick and fast, like I mentioned with Aegon, then you're gonna and not use any health boost as well too. You're gonna want to farm close to like 70 to 100 revives per path, and it is doable. And the reason why I'm like preaching this, or just 100% assured that it is doable, is because I did it, and it took me. I was farming between 100 to 140 per path. Now I wasn't using all 140, so it was easy for me to farm another 60 to go back in there and knock out another path and get Necropolis done within a week. So I mean, all this being said, guys, I said to myself, and I said it many times in the streams, like I didn't want to make a video about how to farm revives or put it out there too much, because I felt like it was going to get nerfed, and it would get nerfed a little quicker. Now, yes, it's getting nerfed very quickly. We're at the end of November, so you basically have a month of December to get this done, to farm as much as you can. Let me know if you feel like I wasn't like very detailed when it comes to like how I farmed these revives, and you need more explanation on it. We just got a couple of weeks for players to get it in there, and just do it before it actually goes away, which is it will early January. But guys, I know this is a very sensitive topic because yeah, it's just a lot of people don't agree with farming of revives. But you know, getting the way I see it, it cost me 0 items, $0, I guess, if you will, to finish the Necropolis. And it's 100%. And I basically ended up getting all the rewards, all the juicy stuff that comes out of it. Yeah, I mentioned I spent 3,000 units plus, not to mention the units that I spent to like swap my mastery. So probably maybe 4,000 units, but those units came from in-game like resources, like having arena, opening a couple of those Deadpool crystals that give units. I got very lucky on some of them, good RNG on it. So I basically spent nothing, and now doesn't mean I don't spend anything in the game. Come here Cyber Weekend, we freaking whale out like crazy, and yeah, maybe Kabam didn't get my monies from the Necropolis, but they got it from somewhere else. So I know that's not the case for everybody. Some people went and probably spent like, you know, close to maybe $300 to $500 in just buying units to basically complete Necropolis because they didn't want to farm, and that's fair. And then they got to spend another X amount of dollars in the Cyber Weekend. So I mean, that's a lot of money for Kabam just in the Necropolis. But again, you got to keep in mind of all the in the back end. Just to finish it off here, like what Kabam, the efforts, the team, the staff, everybody that was involved in the Necropolis to build it, how long it took to build it, how long it took to implement it. You know, maybe 6 months to a year worth of labor on these of the staff and employees, and just like Necropolis is going to be in there for forever. So yes, it's going to be a spike of like possibilities of like revenue for the game, and then you know it's going to kind of come down. So having items like farming and stuff like this, and like how I explained to you how I did it, basically with $0 out of my pocket, is not ideal for the game, and it's not a good thing for future content like this, you know. So we've gone from Realm of Legends, Labyrinth of Legends, Road to the, you know, all these Abyss of Legends, and the Necropolis, and we'll see what the future has to come. Again, content like this doesn't come quite fast, so maybe in the next 2 years we'll see something else show in the game, and we'll tackle it with whatever ways we can then. But for now, guys, did want to put this out there. Like I said, just kind of like closing thoughts on it, and just why I'm making this video, because of the nerf that's happening in January, and kind of what I did, and some numbers of what I basically used to finish Necropolis 100%. All right, guys, take care. Hopefully this helps somebody. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.